these last 2 weeks have been so listen, I don't know how you guys see yourselves. Do you see yourselves as Canadians, French, Americans, or West Indians, Africans? And by that I mean, do you see yourself as a Congolese or a Cameroonese or West Indian, Nigerian, whatever you are originally, living in Europe or in the US? Or do you see yourself as a French citizen or a European citizen or an American citizen or a Canadian citizen or Portuguese or wherever you live? You can answer in the chat. Personally, I tend to see bonne nuit. I tend to see myself. Don't forget to watch the replay, leave a like, and put a comment tomorrow. Personally, I see myself as a really a Pan-African person, but I understand that my origins are Congo and Portugal, and I have French citizenship, and I lived in France more than I live anywhere else. And even if in my house we speak Portuguese, I speak with my parents, and my mother tongue, the language that I always spoke all my life, is French. So I would say that I see myself as a French citizen, and I would even say a Portuguese citizen now, because this is where I have my tax residence. I'm a resident of Portugal officially, and my mind is broad enough, right? My mind is broad enough that I can see myself as a French citizen, a Portuguese, a Lisboeta, and at the same time understand that I still represent for Africa. But at the same time, because I lived here my whole life, I mean, since I'm 7 years old, so it's been 41 years that I live in Europe. I'm a European as culturally and as a person that lived in Europe my whole life. When I'm in Africa, I see myself more as a tourist. Even if this is home, I see myself as a tourist. And it is not a question of value or whatever. It's just that this is not where I live. So even when I'm in Congo, I know everybody. I mean, Kinshasa, this is my place. But I've never been more than a whole month. More than a whole month in the last 40 years. I've never been more than a whole month in Kinshasa. So, as much as people love to see themselves as, listen, it's everybody's heart. I think it's a personal decision. A lot of people love to what'd you say? Listen, it is something that is yours, and it's nobody's place to judge. But I believe that for me personally, that's my personal experience. I am from my roots in Africa to the branches in Europe. And I've been in so many countries. I love Asia more than I love Europe and Africa, I believe. And I really love my African upbringing and my African roots and my African the values that I've been raised with, and at the same time, I know that they are mixed with French values, European because and American a little bit, because that's culturally, this is my culture. I know way more about rap, R&B, kizomba, zouk than I know about rumba. If you ask me the history of zouk and compa and kizomba, I can explain to you way more than if you tell me, yeah, what's the history of rumba? I would be like, yeah, but you Congolese. That's not even what I listen to. I listen to more Brazilian music than I listen to everything else. So, and I actually love listening to house music more than I prefer something else. So, as I say all the time to the people who love to shame their brothers for not being like them, I believe that it's a personal thing, and everybody has the right to feel how they feel. I'm coming. So, but still, I'm coming. That's a very hard question. I actually ask myself always about that. I think I'm all in one. Yeah, me too. And I think it makes her more rich as people to be everything. But have you ever watched Funérailles de Tabou? They talk about that. Yeah, I saw a little bit of it. That was interesting. I thought that one of the guys who was there, I think he was a Congolese guy in that one. I didn't see everything. I watched a little bit of it, but there was one of the guys who was there. It was funny to me because he was trying to push his views of what it is to be an African to the others, and the others were more like, yo, calm down, like we can be both at the same time. And the guy was like, no, me, and I was like, I didn't see the whole episode, so I'm not gonna judge. But I know that when I speak to some people who are pro black or pro African or etc., and they've never been to Africa, or they go to Africa, maybe they live in Africa 5% of their life, the rest of the time they were in Paris, and I see them being like, yo, that Africa. I'm like, bro, you are the diaspora. You like even when you go there, you might not even feel, because like my cousins say about Kinshasa, it's a pocket dimension. It's not even the same rules. Some things that you think are normal, some people will not do them, and you're gonna be like, what's going on here? It's just because once you pass 10,000 kilometers, it's another part of the planet, and everything can be different. But wait, I'm arriving to my subject. Malcolm Beast, what up, brother? I'm Togolese, Malagasyan woman born in France. Already live in real hood and real comfort with multiple gifts of God. And this mix is me. That's a nice mix. So, why am I asking you this? Is because with this war between Russia and Ukraine, I've seen some things that have been not really shocking me, but the fact that all these sanctions that they are imposing on Russia and the Russian people, a lot of them, listen, it's the war, I understand, they put sanctions, all right, no problem. But some of them, I was like, yo, wait a minute. And the way the situation is treated and the way the journalists, they don't even hide the way they view the Ukrainian people under a war. They don't even hide the fact that they do a distinction between these people, these refugees. They're not migrants, they're refugees. And they don't even care anymore. Like, when I heard some contents, like some comments from journalists saying like, well, it's not the same, it's not a war because it's not in Africa or in the Middle East where they are used to wars. Wait a minute. You guys have been at war the whole last century. Half of the last century was your wars. 14 to 18, 43 to 45, these were your wars. And then after these wars, you decided to go and share Africa and the rest of the world between yourself, do colonies, and you are responsible for all the wars that are still happening today, all the conflict that are happening today is you guys. I mean, us guys, because I'm French as well. And seeing that those people are like, no, but they're not like, they're blonde with blue eyes. I was like, yo. And it is so interesting to see how, as we are moving in this world and things are changing to something different, and the media is getting uniform. We have a lecture of the events that is dictated by the tweets and the point of view of a part of the population, which is the Western world, the people that control the media everywhere, that have CNN, France 24, and all their channels all around the world. And it is very, very interesting to look at it from that point of view when you realize that the people that will come from as far as Syria, or even less far than Senegal, are going to be called refugees because they are white, and they are going to be called migrants because they are brown. And you look at this and you're like, and you're going to see how all these people, they go crazy. Like, they are unanimous in their sanctioning of a war that will bring them money because they sell the weapons. But they are... Meu Deus, tudo os barulho, por quê? And they will be they will have these they're gonna have all these craziness that they do. Like, the media has become a place where it's kind of hard now to find objective opinions, meaning that Russia invades Ukraine. Yes. But then everybody asks surprised. Everybody is surprised as if, oh my God, they did that, whatever, when you can find videos of Biden, Joe Biden, the actual president, 25 years ago, saying in a meeting, as when he was a governor from Delaware at that time, and he's talking about Ukraine and Russia, and he's saying, listen, I think Ukraine should stay neutral because I believe that if we continue the expansion of NATO till that zone, Russia might feel pressed, and maybe at that point it becomes problematic. And yeah, if we start installing our bases in their borders with our missiles and whatever, they're gonna feel threatened. And all these people, they all act today as if they're surprised. They're shocked. Oh my God. And it shows you a political class in a lot of these countries that it feels like they're babies. It feels like they don't understand the reality of the world, and they don't understand the reality of the consequences of their own actions or the people before them. And they all react as if we were on Twitter. You know what? We're going to cancel Russia. All right. We're going to stop using the gas. We're going to stop doing this. We're going to stop using the oil. We're going to remove all the RT and Sputnik from cable. They cannot emit anymore because they lie. We're going to freeze the assets of every billionaire, all the oligarchs, all the friends of Putin. Like, well, this is cancel culture in grandeur nature. Okay, so if RT and Sputnik, the Russian channels, are propaganda media for the Russian government, Radio France Internationale, what is it? What is France 24 doing in Congo? What is all these channels, like what, CNN? When the US decided to invade Iraq based on lies, unverified information, and drop bombs on top of the same people. Listen, people, even soldiers, they don't want war. Wars are decided by the people who are not fighting and dying. They're decided by all these people who are on the TV stations talking. And when you decide to drop bombs on people, all these innocent people who were in Iraq, based on a lie that they were trying to get atomic weapons. Like you don't have them? Whoever used atomic weapons, if it's not you guys? How come, or us, how come you guys are here wanting to prevent other people from having what you have? And every time you want to free the people with bombs, there's always oil, gas, gold under their feet. And when those people lied, and CNN first, they are lying about the whole thing. And you see, nobody canceled CNN. Nobody canceled CNBC and all the news channel from America from playing in other places. And actually, when any country cancel your media, you say that those people are censoring. But now that you are censoring Russian channels for giving their point of view on a situation, all of a sudden it's normal. No, it has the same name. It has the same name, censorship. And when you guys go to Yugoslavia, the Americans, and you bomb a country without the authorization of the UN, it's called an aggression as well. And nobody stops you from playing football. So I see a certain form of Russian xenophobia now with the American and the way all these people in the Occident are starting to think. Okay, the Russians cannot be part of the Olympics. They cannot be part of the football. They cannot be part of this. They cannot, like, yo, you're a Russian singer? No, your show is canceled. Or you're an oligarch, or your money is seized. I'm like, yo, what are you guys doing? This is called whatever it's called. But when you guys decide to go in other people's places, it's no problem. So listen, I'm not Israeli, I'm not Palestinian. I don't know enough to know who's wrong and who's right. But if I am from Palestine and I have people occupying my land, I mean some parts of my land, like they go on the other side and they keep expanding, right, to the Gaza Strip, which has been the problem all these years. So there's no aggression here. When it's no problem. I don't get it. So everybody goes crazy about Ukraine, like, oh my God, like, do something. Oh my God, everybody has to tweet something. Everybody has to stand, change this. Okay, listen, we all support. But what about Yemen? What's going on in Yemen is way worse. There's way more people dying from that war for way longer. And I don't see the whole world talking about it. Nobody cares. $8 million dead in Congo. Your weapons. Uganda, Rwanda invading on the east. Same thing as what's going on here in Ukraine. For the coltan, for all the minerals. Very unstable. Millions and millions of women raped. But on the day of the women, that was yesterday, happy day of the women, everybody in the Shada gang. I don't hear nobody talking about these women in the Western world that are so about preaching, giving lessons to the whole world. You don't care about these people. All the people who are the 8 million people plus that died in the east of Congo, for you guys to go and recuperate the resources, and because of the hunger for power of all these people, nobody's being canceled. And you guys don't care. And you don't do standing ovations. And listen, somebody could reply, but listen, it's far. It's there. So it's so far that, listen, it's between you guys. It's between you guys. Like, you handle yourself between Uganda, Congo, Rwanda. Like, you guys should, East African Union, they have to handle this between themselves. Okay. So it's our stuff. It's our stuff, right? Okay. So why are you asking us our opinion there? Why do I turn off the TV and I see the same people telling us, "Oh, listen, it's in Europe, so it's this is a shock for us because it's in Europe, not like you guys, you used to it." Why am I seeing people asking, commenting, yeah, the African countries, they're not saying anything. Like, everybody should be unanimous against this war. We need the African countries to step up and say we condemn as well. Why is Shada not saying nothing? So if it's our stuff, when it happens in our continent, why do you want us to care about your shit? Why is your indignation very geometric? Maybe because of the gas that goes under Ukraine and arrive to Germany and can make you hot in the winter? Or maybe because you're a bunch of hypocrites. And I'm going to predict what's going to happen. And I might be completely wrong. At a point, they're all going to sit down because this whole mess is a mess. It's a mess. Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, is going to sit down. He's going to say, listen, you can keep Crimea. You can keep Donbass. And listen, we talk about, listen, I'm not here to say who's right, who's wrong. I'm not for one side. Personally, I have a lot of Ukrainian friends. I got a lot of Russian friends, and I love everybody. But the people from the East Ukraine of Donbass have been being bombarded by the Ukrainian government for the last 4 years. There's documentaries about that. And everybody's like, no, that's not true. This whole shit started 2 weeks ago. Oh my God. Like, don't make complicated subject simple because you want to point fingers. These people love to point fingers. And listen, somebody said something very interesting. Somebody said that Poutine should be sent to the Cour Pénale Internationale, the International Tribunal. It's in Holland, in Den Haag. He should be brought there. And somebody replied to him, yes, but Bush, Sarkozy, and them should go first. But in their head, they make those instances to send the Russians and the Africans and some of the Asians that they don't want to be under their control. And listen, at a point, the war in Iraq made 250,000 dead. 250,000 dead. And nobody cared. Because Dick Cheney and them were making a bunch of money with the oil. And this was funded with drug money. All these are facts, not inventions. The problem is the people who control media are choosing who are the victims for them and who they care about depending on what are their interests. And the interests are always geopolitics. And at a point, for me, we're going to see some crackle in this because this position is untenable and people are not dumb enough. 80% of the people are dumb enough to just follow and be like, oh my God. But at a point, even for some countries, you're going to start seeing crackles in this whole, yeah, we all united against whatever. Because the way they show you, depending on where you live, they will show you and they will only talk about something as if it was the whole world being. Listen, when we say world war, it was not world war. It was in Europe. It was just the European against the West Europeans against the East, and the Americans took part. That's it. In Africa, there was no world war. The rest of the world was not in the world war, but they will say it's the world war when it's them, and it shows you a real view of the world where we are the center. Like the world is flat and we are in the middle. That's how a lot of the Occidentals see the world. And sadly, they have been like that forever. You know, when the Europeans decided that Jesus was the God of everybody, they forgot that back in Rome it was Jupiter, and they were not monotheists. And then at that point, everybody was seeing the Christian religion as something that was problematic. The same way the Christians are now seeing the Muslims, the Romans were seeing the Christians the same way. Like they were preventing people from praying the one God that was Jesus. And then once it became the religion that everybody started choosing, you know, they were there chilling between themselves, and they were like, who do they pray for in Africa? No, wait a minute. Who do they pray for in the Middle East? Allah? Why? No, this is not the right God. Let's go. Crusades. Kill everybody and implant their religion to everybody. They went in Africa, and why do we speak French? Why don't we speak our own language? Because they came and they decide, hey, yo, Jesus, blonde, blue eye, this is the guy. Forget Mami Wata. And they always had this imperialism, but they use religion, they use language, they use culture to force their ways of the world to everybody, because they believe in their deep inside, they believe that they are on the right side. They believe that they are progress. They believe that, and listen, I don't disagree with a lot of the things that, listen, I live in Europe. I'm a European, I'm a French citizen. I speak French and English and Portuguese 99% of the time. So I'm part of this culture. Listen, I don't have no problem with 90% of the culture of the West, because that's where I live. If I lived in Kinshasa, I would be like, damn, what's wrong with these people? Because there's a lot of things that it's not my culture and it's not my ways. When I go there, I look and I'm like, but I don't try to force my ways to other people. And the West have this thing where they believe so much that the way they think and the way their culture is the right thing, that everybody should benefit from our language, from our culture, from our progress in terms of societal progress, and everybody should also benefit from our religions and our ways. So before living in France, So the 7 years, I mean, I was young, but the 7 years where I was in Congo, I didn't care about, I mean, I was too young anyway, but I didn't care about Muslims, non-Muslim, religious, whatever. Listen, I was raised as a Catholic before becoming Buddhist. I was raised a Catholic. I have my confirmation, my baptism, etc. Like it. Yeah. But when I arrived in France, when I started watching TV, all they kept talking about was, oh, when women put a veil on their head, it's submission. And like, I've been hearing this debate for 40 years. I was like, why do they care so much about now? Because this is the beginning of the invasion. I was like, yo, these people want to impose their ways to other people. And even when they go to other places, they don't want to respect the rules from other people. And they hate communautarism in France, for example. But when they go to Congo, when they go to other countries, in Senegal, they stay between themselves in communities. So there's a huge contradiction that they are living contradiction, and they are in an hypocrisy, because they will look at a war going on and they want the whole world to be alarmed. But when there's a war in the same distance in another direction, they act like if it's not happening. And there's a lot of societal changes that are great, that I am for. But I'm not trying to force other people to be for them as well. And it's very interesting how the Western media is starting to want to only have one direction for everybody. And I think it's dangerous, because there are now some things that you cannot talk on YouTube. We'll talk about them on YouTube, and YouTube might just remove your channel citing something. So during COVID, for example, if you didn't believe about the whole thing, vaccine, etc., it is your right to not believe. Well, it's not anymore. The people who don't want to get vaccinated, etc., they were treated as non-citizens. The people who had YouTube channels where they really were trying to debunk, have facts, tell the opinions. The people who vote for Trump, people just want to put them as idiots, racist, etc. Well, listen. And the problem is, as we give power to platforms, to places like YouTube, Twitter to get our information, we go to Twitter, to YouTube, we go to websites, right? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. We should be free as people to make our own opinions about things and to decide individually as people how we feel about issues, whatever issue it is. And if we believe something that is not true, your goal as a journalist, your goal as a politician, your goal as a leader of opinion, your goal as whatever you are, is to convince people that they are in the wrong. Not to force them, and not to prevent them from having other opinions. So when you, as a journalist, you say it is right, that it is the right thing to close RT and Sputnik, which are the Russian state media, as you call them, I want to know why it is right that your state media stays open. Because all the lies that you say are being said in the Russian, those channels, you supposed to, in France, we had a CSA, which is the organism that regulates. They can put fines when somebody says something wrong. But those people never received a fine. They just give an opinion. They were actually showing the manifestation of the Gilets jaunes. They were inviting people at that time when you were not. So it's very interesting in this world where now everybody wants to cancel anybody that don't agree with them, or cancel anybody that says something that they, for example, I was seeing an interview. I mean, it was a show where somebody was I think it was something about sexuality and the different sexuality of people. And one person tells a guy, so for you, for example, you were a man, and then the guy cuts him. Who makes you think that I'm a man? The guy looks like me, has a bird, everything. Huh? He said, who makes you think that I'm a man? And the guy's like, well, I mean, physically you look like, no, I don't identify as a man or a woman. Blah, 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 blah. You know, the whole thing. Listen, more power to you if this is how you feel about yourself. But you cannot feel threatened or feel disrespected by somebody who didn't go through all these things yet and say that it's offensive, when if you are a little bit logic, it's not offensive. He sees you look like a man, so you're a man for him, for most people. But you decided to make it different for you. It's going to take years for people to agree or move to where you are. And you have to accept that as well when you are in that position. And you also have to accept that there are some cultures that they will not accept that. And they want their traditions, they want to keep their tradition, etc. You have to also accept that either they will move at their pace, or maybe they will not move where you want them to move. And you cannot just be there saying that things have to change. Things have to go, no. I want these guys to change even if I don't live there. And that's the problem of the way that the media and a lot of people are now. We start to believe, especially in the media, on YouTube, you still have the possibility to listen to a lot of opinions. Actually, this is great. But when I don't watch a lot of French media, but when I turn on TV, it's starting to crackle. I'm starting to crackle. People are starting to come up and say, bro, like, this war is the West fault. It's NATO fault. It's not just Putin. People are starting to understand that there's a lot of complicated and a lot of factors to where we are. And listen, now the US said no more oil here. But the Germans said, nah, bro. We're going to keep buying that oil. And you know why? Because we need it. And because the world is interconnected. This is the world that you all wanted. Interconnections. So we're not going to make a war not with Russia and not with China. And all these people were saying, oh, is the World War III coming? All these people are just fear-mongering. Because if people decide to cancel China, there's no more iPhones and computers and all the shit that you guys are using. Because everything is being built there because of the decisions that you guys took to make things cheaper. And nobody in this world will accept to pay a phone 4,000 euros because it's been built in places where there's a minimum salary, etc. You are very happy to complain about this, the people that are working like slave out there, but you're happy to use the product of the slavery in question. And so when I look at the Western media, more and more I'm seeing that for a lot of them, they only accept one direction, and they are very emotive. Listen, I'm not an emotive person. For me, when there's a conflict, I try to read about it. Like, how did we get there? What happened before? And listen, I went to Ukraine myself. I went there for a Kizomba festival with Olga, and I was in Kharkiv, which was, I think, 100 kilometers from the war zone of the east, from Donbass. So I remember before going, I was looking at the map. I was like, wait a minute. This place seems like, and it was like, yeah, but don't worry. I was like, okay. And listen, Odessa, Kharkiv, all these places that are really in the middle of the war are really places where Kizomba is growing. So it saddens me to see this. But then as I was going there, I started learning about the place and everything that was going there, and the whole, the fact that some people are pro-Russian, and some people really want to remove the Russian part, and they are proactive in trying to make Ukraine itself. And I understand that it's complicated, it's not that easy. And so, but when we know that promising them that they would be part of the EU and part of NATO, etc., also created something, and that nobody would have accepted that China have bases, like say you in Paris, you would not have accepted that China make bases in Brussels and in I don't know, in Portugal or Spain. And same for the US. The US would have never accepted that Russia puts military bases in Canada and in Mexico. They would have never accepted it. But because they see themselves as the good ones, they're not evil at all. With everything that they've been doing the last 200 years, they're not evil at all. They believe that they can do it. It's normal. It's to protect the people. But when the Russian invade a country saying exactly the things that you say when you invade other countries, all of a sudden we have to cancel Russia. And it's a dangerous world. Listen, I don't know if as somebody who's I mean, not for me, but if I was Russian and I had a lot of money, I don't know if when this whole thing is over and everybody sits down on a table and they find a solution that pleases everybody, because this is what's gonna happen. I don't know if I'm a Russian person and I have a lot of money and somebody just took my boat, took my club, took my whatever, because for reasons that are as juridically, I don't know if this word exists, but as if I was a lawyer, I would be like, wait a minute, how are you gonna take something to my client and he did nothing other than just being friends of somebody? So wait a minute, the US invaded Iraq for no reason other than pillaging what was in the ground and destroying that country like they destroyed the rest of the countries that they've been in. Should all the people who know Bush have their money frozen? How is it that one country or one part of the world can decide that they can freeze the money from whoever they decide, like just like that? No judge saying yes, we agree, nothing. They just wake up the next day, they say, oh yeah, listen, if you're Russian, we seize all your stuff that are in our countries. Do you think that all these people, when you unfreeze their shit, they're not gonna sell everything, or they're gonna move everything they own to other countries where this is not happening? But you believe that your countries are so amazing that people will come back and say, oh, listen, I want to be in Côte d'Azur. Listen, they can go to Brazil, they can go to Dubai, they can go to so many places, and you are going to be the one crying because, oh, the tourists don't come here anymore. Look, you speak about China all the time in a certain way. Who save your economy with all the tourism and when they come by to your Le Galerie Lafayette and whatever? The Chinese. And with this Russian xenophobia that those people are doing, he's gonna have ramification for a long time, and he's gonna hit them. He's gonna hit them in the ass in a way that they don't even foresee yet. A lot of countries are gonna say to themselves, "Look, we can be in the SWIFT system, which is a messaging system that permits banks to exchange money fast around the world for settlements, and a lot of these banks can be like." Listen, we need to find a new system that is not controlled by the Americans and the Europeans, because those people can just wake up one day and cut all our banks from those places. And now you see the Russians, they're doing a deal for gas with China. The Russians are now participating in the Chinese payment system. A lot of these countries are saying to themselves, we better go crypto. We better put liquidity in crypto so that we can do our exchanges using cryptocurrencies and finding new ways where we don't have to use a system that is not equilibrated, balanced. Because it's a thing where you have those people, we are right all the time and everybody else should do how we think. So listen, we can remove the dollar, access to the dollar from Angola, and all of a sudden you guys can be, you were a millionaire yesterday and today you're only a millionaire in Angola. In the rest of the world you don't have money because your money is not worth nothing all of a sudden, because we decide, us Americans, and we make sure that every other country who's scared of us will not work with you, because if they work with you they will not have access to the systems that we control as well. And this hegemony of one country that is deciding for everybody and saying they are the good guys when they are just other imperialists who are just disguised is dangerous for the world. A place where only one person is the judge, the jury, and the executioner. It's very dangerous. We need a world where there's at least 3-4 poles of power, where a decision can be only taken if China, Russia, the US and Europe agree, and where the Europe has its own voice as well, and they just don't follow like little dogs what the Americans tell them. Because listen, the Europeans cannot even defend themselves. They don't even have an army. All this is America. Listen, it's a mess started by the Americans, and the Europeans just follow. At a point, you're gonna have to decide in the world what kind of world you want. And listen, more and more Africans, after seeing some images of how their own refugees who are trying to run from Ukraine are being treated, and those who are out there in Africa, and they ask them, what do you think? You know what they say? They say, we don't care. Like you don't care about us, we don't care about you. And let me remind you one thing. When the horrible murder of George Floyd happened and sparkled the whole thing around the world, and everybody became Black Lives Matters and etc., and everybody was, they said the whole world was thinking this. But again, it was not the whole world. If you were in Kinshasa or in Timbuktu, they didn't care. You got manifestation all around the world. Yeah. And listen, it was a horrible crime. But this happens in Africa all the time. For them, they were like, yeah, but wait a minute. We had like 80 people died in a bomb and you guys didn't care. Why we have to care about this one guy? That's how people think. But we live in a world where if you live in Europe or if you live in America, they make you believe that the thing that matters to them has to matter to you, and they make it believe as if it matters to the whole world. And this view of the world is dangerous, because once you step out of that zone of influence, you realize that, listen, some people don't care about some of the stuff that you talk about. Some people are not interested in some of the things that you think are important. Some people don't care about I don't know, pronouns, stuff like that. Some people are not there. They're busy trying to eat or whatever. Or some people, they're interested in things that has to do with their own countries and the trouble that they live. Like, and the problem is, and to me it's normal. I really believe that it's normal. When those people they see war in Europe and it's not far from them, it's like, I understand how they feel that, hey, I'm European, so I feel like, oh shit, it's in Europe, it's not far. I understand that what's happening in the east of Congo is far from me too, because only when I'm there and of course I care more because I'm from Congo, and when I look at it, I'm horrified and I understand those things. But a lot of people, they don't have a clue that it exists, and I understand that they don't, because it's not their reality. My problem is that they want their reality to be the reality of the whole world, and they want their ways and their way to think to be the same for the whole world. And there's a lot of pushback that is coming from all that. This year has been COVID, the way people have been treated because of COVID. Listen, I'm triple vaccinated. I believe in vaccine, etc. So just for people to know, but still, the way a lot of government have been censoring everybody that has a different opinion is dangerous, because it feels like a lot of the people who have the power on the media they are from this generation that hates the idea of people having a different opinion than theirs.